All right, good morning, everybody. We're going to get started here in about a minute. Just want to do a quick test on the audio to make sure everything is A-OK. So if somebody could let me know in the comments area, and then we'll get back to you in just a little bit. All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Today is November 10th, 2023. Great to have everybody here. Okay, before we get started, just a quick couple things here. One, first of all, this is an event where you can basically submit stocks or ETFs, and please type those in the comments area in caps. You can just type the symbols in for us, and we'll look them up. We'll go through each one of those. And I'll give you the analysis based on our software, our proprietary software. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a momento. So that is something you can start doing now. Also, too, I would grab a piece of paper and I would write down any of the stocks here that we think look really good for trading opportunities. So make sure you have something to write that down with. We will be recording this, and the recording, of course, is posted after, and then we put a timeline on there of the winning stocks. So we do that. It takes us a little time to get that done during the day, but we get that up today. And then you can just basically go to the timeline and take a look at the winners if you ever miss us live here. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. Let me go through a few administrational items first. I have to talk about the risks involved in trading. You know, like I always say, without the risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand. And you need to be aware of the risks. It is possible to lose some or all your money trading the financial markets. We want you to trade with risk capital. It's money you can afford to risk to trade in the markets. Also know how to do risk control. That's really important. Every trade, you need to have the appropriate amount of trade size, or also known as position size in the industry. And that basically is the number of shares that you're going to actually enter a trade with. You can calculate that. So if the trade does not work, because not all trades do work, then you don't lose your shirt, so to speak. And we have a lot of books on that and courses at traderscoach.com if you don't know how to do that or need to be more proficient in it. Also, too, we're going to be looking, obviously, at a lot of stocks. Hopefully, we'll find some good ones today like we did last week. And definitely run those by your financial advisor or money manager to be sure they're suitable for you. We don't know your personal situation. And so some of these trades that we look at and like may be great trades, but they may not be suitable for you. So definitely check them out and run them by your financial advisor. Here are my books. Basically, we have two books on money management for trading. And these books are great on helping you control your risk on each and every trade, as well as some other information in there you have to have in order to be successful in this business. I'm working on my new book, The Art of Trading, 2nd edition. That's going to be published by Wiley, and that should be coming out fairly soon. It's going to be one of my best books, I think. We're going to cover in there a lot of information about today's market, as well as software that we recommend and things like that. So it's going to be a really great book. Our first one came out in 2008. So our publisher definitely wanted us to update that. The time has come, so we're doing that. I also have a book on Elliott Wave Techniques Simplified. Great reviews at Amazon on that book. So if you like, it's a form of technical analysis that assigns numbers to the waves. You'll probably hear me talk about that today. But the Elliott wave, I look at that as a roadmap of the markets, and it's a very helpful technique. And you'll see me use that today, so you get an idea. And if you like it, you'll want to learn more about it. That's a great book. And then I have, of course, home study courses that go into great more detail. Survival Guide for Traders is a great book on how to run your trading business from your home, just like a professional hedge fund. So those are all available. When I do the recording, I'll put the links up to our Amazon book page, or you can just go to our website at traderscoach.com and buy them there. All right, so the software we're going to use, software that I developed over my last 30 years trading the financial markets. Basically, it's a culmination of what I found works best in the market, and it puts icons on your chart for easily identifiable entries and exits into any market, any time frame. And you'll see me use those today as well. And we have charting software, which is the line at the top. We have scanners to find stocks, and then we have also risk control software. So we kind of cover all the major bases with our software tools. And if you want to think of it as AI, yeah, it's AI, because it's doing the work for you and then suggesting which trades are the best. All right, and then finally, take a minute right now, go to your mouse and give us a like right now. That helps us on the YouTube channel. And the more people we can get here, the better, because if everybody brings a couple stocks, that's more for us to look at and more possibilities of some really great trades. Also, too, if you're thinking about buying something, let's say you read an article or your stockbroker suggests a certain stock and you're not 100% sure if this is a good time to buy it, bring it here. I'll look it up, and from a technical perspective, we'll tell you what we think. All right, and if it's any good, all right, we'll let you know. We think you should wait, we'll let you know. All right, so it gives you kind of a second opinion. All right, so without further ado, go ahead and start typing those in. I'm going to minimize this. We're going to go to my charting platform, and I'm just going to run you through really quickly what you're looking at here. So I use a charting platform called NinjaTrader, and our software is compatible with many charting platforms out there, and of course, NinjaTrader is one of them. And NinjaTrader, all right, connects to live data in the markets. So when you give me a stock, I'm looking at the data currently today. Now, the other thing to recognize here is, notice on this panel here, I've got three charts. I've got one over here, 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 loaded in this particular software. And it's all of the same symbol. I happen to have GBTC up there, and I'll analyze that for you in a minute. And what we're taking a look at is we're looking at this stock, GBTC, which is actually an ETF. But we're looking at across a broad spectrum of time frames. So we've got the 60-minute time frame here. For those of you that are new, what that means is each of those price bars you see on the chart represent an hour of activity. So every hour, all right, a new one will appear. So that is called an intraday chart. And it's the reason we look at it is it gives us a short-term perspective on the stock we're looking at. How's it doing short-term? How's the momentum? Is it trending up? Like in this, it's trending up, obviously. So what's it doing? And then on the center chart, we also like to take a look at the same stock, but this time on a daily chart. So every price bar here represents a full day. And so a new one will form tomorrow, or actually Monday, right? Markets are closed on Saturday. So this gives you an intermediate look at this particular stock. So I'm kind of looking at it from a perspective of a longer term time frame than the 60-minute chart. Now, most times you go to Yahoo or Google or whatever you look at charts, most time they start you with the daily. So that's kind of the common industry chart to look at. All right, on the far right is what we call a weekly chart. And so the weekly chart is a longer term chart because every price bar represents a full week of activity. So there's 5 days built into each price bar. And so every price bar forms weekly, not daily, and not every hour like on the other charts. So this gives us a long-term aspect on the market we're looking at. All right, at the top, you can see a multicolored window with a whole bunch of stock symbols and future symbols. This is our scanner scanning for opportunities. We won't be using that today because you're going to be giving me the possible opportunities, and we're going to be looking up stocks that you all want to look up. But that is how we find our trades when we're kind of analyzing, you know, the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100 or the futures market, whatever market you trade. When there's quite a few symbols to analyze, that does the heavy work for us and finds the best trades possible. At the bottom of the chart, you're going to see some indicators. We call this the OWL, which stands for the Optimum Wave Locator. And this chart is measuring momentum and also helps us count that form of technical analysis called the Elliott wave. So you can see it's in a wave 3 at this time here, which is a very powerful move to the upside. All right, under that is what we call the PTF. And we have these loaded on all the charts. You can see that. This is called the Precision Trend Filter. This is kind of a really nifty indicator because when it's yellow, it's neutral. But when it's green like it is now, it's saying there's more highs coming. And basically, you just find the highest high, which is currently yesterday's price bar. All right, it's saying it's going to take that out and go higher. So that's kind of an interesting indicator because it has a 75% probability. So that's kind of cool. Under that, it's what we call the TLM, the Trend Line Master. This identifies the trend. Okay, and you can see that's green on this chart here because the trend is up. Under that's the ERI. This is kind of a cool indicator. It stands for Emotional Reader Index. And what this does is anytime prices get far away from a norm, and that norm is determined by a trend line, it tells us that we may have a possible greed situation. And so it will paint the bars when that starts to happen. And so you see we got a breakaway here. And notice that on this ribbon, it's telling us we have a greed bar up here. Now, if the market goes higher than that greed bar, that means the greed is still in place, but be careful because we're getting kind of pretty far away from a normality and you might have a break back down to the mean. So we can use that in a variety of different ways, from possible scaling out if prices go under the signal bar labeled by the ERI, or we can go long if the greed continues. So that gives you a quick rundown on what you're looking at here. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of stocks coming in. I love this. Let me just quickly go over GBTC, all right, since it's up in front of us here. And great to have everybody here. All right, GBTC is the ETF for Bitcoin. Now, we recommended Bitcoin quite a while ago when it was just under $10 and starting to break out. It's now at $29.69 and still going strong. Now, we think, or I think, we had a major bottom in here when it got into the single digits, and then it reversed. I think it's going to take out the $60 high here at some point. It's not going to do it tomorrow, but I think it's in a long-term move to the upside. It's probably at this point, we've had a big move up really quickly. And whenever you have that in the markets, you have to be careful about jumping into a high price because what happens is you have profit taking coming in. So people that have gotten in early are saying to themselves, all right, I've doubled my money. Any pullback, I think I better get out. And so when it pulls back, usually it goes to target areas called Fibonacci retracement zones. And I've drawn those on the shorter term charts. I've got one here, for example, and then I drew one here, and they're pretty much at the same spot, all right? So if this pulled back today, it would go to $25 and roughly 50 cents down to $22.50 before it again goes up. So it'd be something like this. It would come down and then go back up. That's what that target zone is a possibility of. So it represents some pullback in an uptrend. And you know, markets don't go up forever in a straight line. They zigzag. If you look at charts, you'll see that they go up, they pull back, maybe they go sideways a little bit, and then they resume. So I do think this will resume back to the upside. I think it's a little risky to jump in now, but it's very strong still. But we do have bearish divergence building up short term here. And what that means is when you look at the owl here, you can see that prices are making new highs, but the momentum that the owl is measuring did not. Okay, this one is still the highest high. So in a case like that, it's usually a sign that the buying is starting to slow down a little bit. So when that happens, you might get a reversal at any time. It also indicates, thanks to the PTF down here, that probably that's not going to happen quite yet. We're going to go up a little further. So it's a little bit like playing Russian roulette, so to speak. If you go in now, yeah, you might get another 1 point, maybe 2, but then you're going to have the correction. So you've got to make the decision there at home. Do you want to jump in, make this a long-term trade? Keep your stop as far away as possible if you're going to do that, and just stay with it even if it zigs and zags. Or you could stand on the sidelines right now, wait for the pullback, and then go in, okay? So either one of those is totally up to you and what your time horizon is. But I'm telling you, GBTC is very strong and it's not over going up. And if the markets go into a pullback, I think GBTC will be a place where even more people look at it as an alternate to a regular stock. So that's my assessment on GBTC. All right, now let's go ahead and see what you guys want to look at. All right, I think the first set of symbols I see come from Constant. How are you, Constant? All right, let's take a look at F. Now, F is the stock symbol for Ford. All right, Ford had a little trouble there. It's coming down, right? All right, so, yeah, there it comes. So when we take a look at this, one of the first things I take a look at is I take a look at just the price chart, okay? Obviously, you know, you got a trend line down here, trend line down here, you got trend lines down here. So it's obviously trending down. Let's take a look at the next set of indicators, which is the owl, okay? Red, 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 okay, bearish, all right? Let's take a look here at the PTF next, red, okay, just turned red, red, green here, okay, interesting. So how do you interpret that? Well, what that is showing you here, that is on the short-term time frames, which is this one and then the daily time frame here, these two time frames, it's not done going down yet. So we got a little bit further of a pullback. Now, on the long-term chart where the PTF is green, what that is indicating is, okay, we pulled down into a target zone, which is, again, that zone of profit taking. So now, as soon as this ends, we'll probably get a move back to the upside. That's what that is saying. If this changes, and it's close to doing it, going red, then that assessment is over. So I would not go into it yet. It's still at a fairly decisive point here, and it's still heading down. Also, if you notice here on the actual price activity, our software drew these little triangles. You see these here? These are bearish, and they're on pretty much all the time frames. Look at that. All right. So those are called pyramid trading points done by the ART software. ART stands for Applied Reality Trading. And that looks at trend trading price patterns, also known as fractals, okay? And in this case, you have lower lows and lower highs. So that's bearish, all right, across the board. So you do not want to be buying into this yet. Will this be a good buy in the future? Perhaps, all right? Do you want to short it here? I think you're a little late to the party, okay? Especially since we're in this target zone here. So I don't know if you have this one, Constance, or not. If you do, I think at this particular point, you're probably married to it, so to speak, because the time to have gotten out would have been when this pyramid formed to the downside here. So at this particular point, I'd probably hold it because eventually I think you'll get a turnaround in Ford. I would not short it here. It's too late. And I would not buy it here. Okay. So that's my assessment on Ford. Thank you for sharing that with us. All right, let's go to LPX. LPX. All right, so LPX, let's take a look at this. First of all, you know, when you glance at the chart using a great set of indicators like we have here, it kind of quickly assesses what's going on. All right, look at the font, look at the weekly chart here, okay? Let's open that up. So there we have that there. So big move off the bottom, all right, back in the year 20 to 21, all right? And then it's been messy ever since, right? So if you had gotten into this 3 years ago or so, all right, you'd be pretty much right where you are now, okay? So not so great, okay? I think on this particular point here, let's draw and see if at least it's hit some targets on this area here. It's interesting. This one actually was a double top here. So it's come back down into the profit-taking target zone. All right, so the next thing to assess is, let's see if this bottom holds, okay? Because that is the bottom right there. All right, is this a 3, 4, or are we still in 4 and it's going to make another low? That's the question we're not sure of here. So a little messy, all right? Let's take a look at that daily chart. Oh boy, that's been coming down. It has not turned around enough, and the 60-minute chart on the far left is still showing red. So what does that mean? Well, it means that it's still pulling back a little bit. Is this a bottom? Could be, okay? But this red PTF here says it's at least going to take out this low, and we're still coming down. We have red here. We do have green here. So let's see short term how far back this pulls back, and if this bottom holds here, and that bottom is here. So we may have a situation where it could turn and go higher. Then you have higher highs and higher lows. Trend line will draw. Entry, you might get a pyramid in here, and then that could be a long position at that point. But for right now, no, okay? If you're in it, all right, well, it's probably going to be a little bit more of a bumpy ride for you. All right, that's LPX. Let's take a look at AT&T, I guess. See what that one is. Okay, so again, move down, possible bottom of some type here. You can see that here. All right, I've drawn in the target zone for profit taking on a short trade. So when we talk about profit taking on a short trade, what that means is people that shorted the stock are covering, taking their profits, and that's causing the stock to go up. And then you may have other people thinking that this is a significant bottom here and jump in for the value. Okay, so you have different, you have investors, you have traders doing different things. So that usually causes a market to at least get up to a profit-taking zone. So we're kind of thinking, we just about hit it, actually. All right, so now this concerns me. All right, this is indicating and telling me this is not, okay, a bottom. All right, that the market may be coming up to that target zone and then selling off. So that would keep me out of buying this. And if we go to the retracements here, all right, you can see it's just hitting that target. So are we done? Is it going to come down? It possibly could. It possibly could go one more time into it. In terms of an Elliott wave, this could be a 3. This could be an A, all right, B. And this is a short C. So usually C is at least as long as A. And so my guess is probably maybe one more time into the target zone. So again, this is not a buy, all right? Possibly could be setting up for a short trade, but I wouldn't do it yet because that C leg is not convincing enough, and we still have a green owl over here, which means more high. So we may be just pulling back a little short term because that's what the short term chart is saying, but I'm not so sure the move to the upside is over yet. Now, before we go on to your next one, TLT, I want you to just take a look at the well, here, let me just back out of here. Look at the PTF here, okay? It's telling you not to go in, right? Even though the market is heading up, because it's telling you that this is not the bottom. All right, now I want to show you a stock where this saved a lot of loss here. All right, look at TLT. All right, this is the ETF for bonds. Look at this move off the bottom here with the red PTF. It's telling you the bottom's not in yet. And then look what happened. It rolled over and it was right, okay? Now, a lot of people in here were thinking this is the bottom and buying into it. So I really listened to what this PTF tells me. It has a 75% accuracy rate. So when it's red or green, I listen to it. When it's yellow, it's neutral. You can go long or short on any of those. So I just wanted to share that so you can see why I really give that a lot of weight. All right, let's take a look at your last one here, VZ. All right, VZ. All right, VZ, nice long-term trend to the downside. All right, so this one looks interesting. Do you see any red PTF? And the answer is no. Okay, that's a good sign. In fact, I see a green one way over here, right? Okay. So is this a major bottom? Got bullish divergence? Might be. All right. We might have a 3 here. Well, actually a 3 here. Boy, that's an interesting price bar. That's kind of an abnormal type of price bar. I was going to say 3, 4, 5. Not sure we have bearish divergence. We do slightly right now. All right. Or right here we have bullish divergence. So I want to make sure. Okay, so we're pretty good shape. All right. So focus on the bullish divergence here. Okay. This looks like a wave 3 here, assuming that it may be coming up. So this is not a bad one. All right. Now, let me just take a quick look because, yeah, that's pretty nice big move correction down. I'm not sure it's over yet, though. So I'm thinking on this one here, you may have a possibility for almost like a dead cat bounce trade. I don't know if you've heard that, but that's basically when you have selling that was overdone and you may get a little bit of a retracement. So my target for this one is 42.5 to 50, and we're at 35. So that's not too bad. You got to put your stop low enough. You might get a little bit of a pullback here, but it's going to be temporary. All right, you may get another point to the downside, but I'm going to recommend this one as a buy with a target of around, let's say 42.5 to 50, and that's a VZ. Okay, so I think this probably will trend up for a little bit longer. And you don't have an active pyramid here that was taken out when prices went above the top of the pyramid, so that's good. You've got some little bit of pulling back here. Let me just run the fibs real quick to get an idea of how extensive the pullback could be. Well, we could get down to 34 to 32, and we're at 35. So you certainly could wait and see if you get down to that target range before buying. But even if you bought now, you put your stop under the, put it around 32, and it should keep you in the trade, and you should profit on the next move up. So I'll put VZ down, but you could also wait a little while. Okay, so not so bad. All right, so I think let's see how we're doing with that. I think Constance, that gets you. All right. All right. Actually, Kent. Okay, Kent, you're on Connie's computer. Okay, good. All right. So welcome. All right, Al. Al's looking at quite a few here. BYRN. Let's see what you got. All right. So this one, big move down, but now it looks like we're heading maybe to the upside. All right. Oh boy. Okay. I was excited until I saw this. All right. Red PTF. So any move up is basically profit taking at this point unless that changes. So you got to be careful. But, you've come down a lot. So where is that profit taking zone? Well, technically, we could draw something like this and get kind of an idea, rough idea that probably around 5 to 725, and we're at 49. So, okay, that is interesting, right? Okay, so not so sure about that one. And yeah, the red PTF is keeping me back on this trade. All right, we also have bearish divergence here in the owl on the short term, which means we've had a big run up. So let me ask you, is it better to get in here or here? Okay, the answer is here, right? There's a lot of risk for a correction. Well, let's put this on a watch list now, because what we have to determine is, is the bottom in, and the PTF is saying no. But once it comes back down again, then that may be the final bottom. So you kind of want to keep an eye on that. But I'm going to give it a no-go for right now because of that PTF, unfortunately, right? Okay, FT, NT. Let's take a look at this. All right, just so you know, I could not move this fast when analyzing stocks if I didn't have the right set of tools. So having the good software tools is really important. And that's why we do these stock analysis Fridays, is to show you, all right, how a set of good tools can really help your trading. All right, so right off the bat, all right, I'm taking a look. I see a bunch of negative things, okay? you may be considering this for a short trade, right? So we got a bearish pyramid, had one way up here, all right, and you've had a bunch here, right? You also have a red PTF, and that's kind of interesting, right? And no red PTF here. You had bearish divergence before the move down, all right? And this is interesting, all right? This is a big deal, this little support area here. We're getting darn close to it. And if it takes that out, that's kind of important, right? So that we'll have to wait and see if that kind of holds. Boy, it got close, didn't it? All right, you also had a couple gaps in this. You had a gap here and a gap here. That's kind of unusual, all right, in a situation like this to have two gaps very tight together. So there's 3 times gaps form in any particular market. There are exceptions, but usually it's at the beginning, middle, and end, right, if you see them. So this is obviously the beginning. So is this the middle or is this the end? That's the million-dollar question. And unfortunately, the red PTFs on the daily and the 60-minute are saying more lows coming. So there you have it. So I don't think it's done coming down. I think it'll take out this bottom, which means probably it will take out the significant support here. So that's a big deal. So you're going into a major correction on this. Let's open up that weekly chart. What a beautiful Elliott wave 3 this is, right? Boom, boom, boom. So 3, 4, 5, trend is done. And I think we're coming down into a new sequence here. So no long trade on this. Short trade, tough one to get in early because it gaps so much. But if you get a rebound, I would say up to the bottom of this pyramid here that would have given you a first initial entry here, you could probably do it. So upper 50s, you may want to pull the trigger and go short again, but bring it here next week first. So maybe a watch list, but you know, I'll leave that up to you. So no go on that. DD. All right, DD, we still got that green PTF. We've looked at this one before. So you still got the green PTF. All right, so it looks like this is a bottom here. Looks like we've got a little bit of a sideways pattern. Let's open up this. We actually can open up with this on both time frames, but let's take a look at this one quickly. All right, there's another form of technical analysis called pennants, right? And so pennants are basically drawn on the lows and then again drawn on the highs of usually markets that kind of get stuck in these ranges. All right, so if we drew one down here, it would be something maybe like this. Notice it pulled out really close here and then dropped back down. So what I would do when you get a case like this is redraw it like that, all right? So there it is right now, all right? So that's the pennant, you know, kind of looks like a yacht club pennant for those that do yachting up there, right? So you gotta wait, whichever way it breaks out of this pennant is pretty powerful. Now the PTF at the bottom is saying the breakout should be to the top, but what happens is, you know, it could be range bound further into the point of the triangle before it bounces. So eventually it gets to a point where the triangle gets so small, the tip of the triangle, that it's a breakout. So markets, when they get compressed, like in these points here, become very sensitive to any new news or changes in the stock itself. So pay attention to this because whichever way it breaks out, it's going to be pretty huge. Now, I think we probably got a bottom here. This looks like a major bottom here, big move up, you know, profit taking zone here. And now we're kind of coming up here. So I would not be surprised if you get a breakout to the top. So that's not bothering me here. This is labeled as an MP pyramid. I wouldn't jump in yet, okay? Because things are still kind of going wishy-washy back and forth. And again, you could even draw that pennant on the daily chart if you prefer, because you have all the points there as well. All right, now we got a red PTF, red, and red. So it's coming down further. So you definitely don't want to jump in yet. And guess what? If it breaks down here, you're going to have to sit on the sidelines and see if that bottom we looked at holds, right? So don't jump in yet. All right, it may still be coming down and readjusting a little bit, and maybe it'll go to the bottom of that pennant on the weekly chart, okay? So that's my take on DD. All right, let's take a look at EL here. All right, still coming down itself. Too late to go short. The short would have been a while ago. Red PTFs across the board. So no go on that. All right, what a great trade to the short side with those pyramids. Boy, wish you brought this one to us half a year ago. That's a good one. All right, EL. All right, no go on any of that. Okay, RDW. Let's take a look at that. When we use the pyramids, just so you know, these pyramids on the chart here, these are also where we put our stops, okay? So the tops of the pyramids is the stops. They always point in the direction of the trend. And this thing has got a red PTF, so it's still coming down. Very messy chart. Maybe not a bad one to do an option decay, you know, sell an option and take in income on the decay of that option. Time decay, that is. All right, so that's not so bad. But at this particular point, I don't even know if it's optionable. It's only 259, but it was higher, so it probably is. All right, so that's a no-go. Okay, that's still in a bottoming configuration. Could be good later on, so put it on your watch list, but not right now. All right, let's take a look at PRZO. PRZO. All right, is that correct? Not a lot of history here. Now looks like not much there. All right, tough to get any type of significant Elliott wave count, so I'm going to just go with the indicators here. And you've got a red pyramid here. You've got not enough history for any meaningful indication here on the weekly chart. And on the short-term chart where there's more history with price bars, you've got more lows coming, okay? Would you short this? No, okay? There's just not enough history to know where the target is. PTF target is going to be just below the the current price bar here, so that's not enough profit potential to make it worthwhile. All right, so that is a no-go. Okay, AVXL is your next one. All right, so right away, guess what we see? Red PTFs, right? So you don't want to go long. Okay, is there an opportunity for a short trade? That's the question here. Okay, here's my take on this. The answer to that is probably so from a technical standpoint. You got red here, red here, red here, red here. My only problem with this is close to going green. So we may be in the beginning of a profit-taking phase before it sells off again. So I would grab the fib extensions and just see where the possibility is for that to go up. So I probably, at this point here, will probably sit on the sidelines because you haven't had enough of a move up, not even on the 60-minute chart, to warrant a sufficient correction to say that the profit taking is over. So usually profit taking, what it does is it goes in an ABC triangular situation. So the first move up is an A. We're in B now. Should not take out the low, but it could come darn close. And then you have C wave that takes it into the target for the completion of, let's say, a wave 4 after a wave 3. And then you want to short as soon as you can up in here, okay? So we're kind of due for a green, and you usually get that green on C wave. So I'm a little bit apprehensive on going short here without a little bit more information. So I'm going to put this on as a no-go for a short trade, obviously a no-go for a long trade. But this is one you can put on your watch list because this will be a good short trade if it gets up to the target between, what, 7 and roughly 8, right? That's this area here. Okay, so that's kind of my analysis on that. So there you have it, okay? And that is AVXL. All right, COTY. Let's take a look at COTY. All right, so this one here, let's open up the weekly chart here. So we got a history back to about 2013. Okay, not too bad. All right, big move down. All right, completed, it looks like here in 2021. All right, it's been kind of trending up. All right, here. So you can definitely see where a trend line can be drawn up here. And you currently have a move pullback here underway. All right, so that's what that's telling you there. And it may not be over. You still got some red here. No PTF color of red or green there. So when it's yellow, it's neutral. Okay, so it's not really helping us now. All right, and it's neutral even on the PTF is neutral on also the daily chart, but it is green, I believe. Yes, it is green here. So it looks like we're heading back up and should take out this high here for what, around $10.50. And we have no longer any active pyramids because those have been stopped out, right? All right, and we do have one active here with a fairly significant, all right, owl there. So it's possible, all right, we could be making a new high, but not very clear at this particular point. And so, you still have a red owl here. So I'm not going to recommend it on this time frame. If you want to take a short trade that may just last a few days, let's just see if that even makes sense, because you see you already hit the target zone there. So it's probably going back up. The best I can give you, Al, on this one for a possible target is $10 and roughly 40 cents, right? And we're at 974, and then your stop's got to be down at 940. So I don't even think you have quite a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So I'm not going to recommend that one, but maybe later at a later time. All right, let's take a look at WPM. WPM. All right, so we've looked at this one before, right? So we were anticipating a move down. Looks like we got it. Now we're getting that move up. We hit the target zone here. We still have a green PTF here. So it's not done moving up, okay, at this particular point. So let's take a look at this overall chart here. All right, and you can see it spent years going roly-poly here. All right, so we kind of need a breakout before we get too excited about making some serious money here. So my feeling is, why get stuck in something like this when we can try to find something that's moving much better, right? So nothing really suits my fancy here. You might, for example, all right, so let's open up the 60-minute for a minute. So we have something here called a PTF scalp trade based just off the PTF. And when the PTF is green, the highest price here, all right, is the target. So there's a 75% probability that prices will get to that level there. All right, now, if you went in here and put your stop under here, this is your risk distance, right? So we like to take trades where the risk distance, all right, is basically half of what the potential profit distance is. So that's called a risk to reward of 2-to-1 in your favor. So before we take a trade, we like to have that ratio of 2-to-1 in our favor to even consider the trade. So you have that here. So you have a possibility here for a very short-term trade. And don't forget this, each price bar is an hour here. So you're not going to be possibly in this trade very long. Maybe a week at the most, maybe 2, possible 2 if it gets, a little slow. But it also could be just a few days if it moves pretty quick. So that's not a bad one. And I'm going to put that one as a possible short-term quick trade, okay? I'll call it a scalp. How's that? Okay. So I like this for a scalp trade only. Couple things here to note that this pyramid is no longer active because prices went above it. So that clears the way for a scalp trade. All right. This is still red. All right. Sometimes in scalp trades, you need to go in when that's red. All right. It's actually preferred when it's green, but it's not. So that adds a little more risk to it. And here's the thing. The indicator could be 75% accurate. The problem is if you put your stop here, it may come down one more time, stop you out, and then go. And then the PTF's correct, but your trade ends up at a loss. Okay, so stop loss placement becomes very important. And also that 2-to-1 risk to reward in your favor becomes important. So that's going to cause you to put your stop here if you take the trade. So possibility here, all right, but scalp trades are a little bit high risk because of that stop loss placement. It can be difficult to get it right. And there you have it. So I'm going to put it down as a buy for those that like those type of trades, okay? That's WPM. It's not a buy and hold at this time, that's for sure. All right, so let's keep going here. All right, let's see. All right, SOLO. SOLO, solo. All right, So, all right, reaching down, made a new low here. Ooh, we got a green PTF here. That's interesting, okay? So that's saying maybe this bottom down here should hold. Interesting, all right? So we'll see. We may get a double bottom, all right, and scooting along the edge. What I'd like to see here, we still have an active pyramid here, okay? Not one here. That's been stopped out. So that's a little concerning. I kind of don't like to go against those. So I'm kind of going to wait here to get a little bit more. If this thing is going to go, I'd like it to get above that pyramid. And then I'd like to see maybe a bullish pyramid form instead. So watch list on this one. Okay, we got to wait for this to percolate, but it could be a potentially good one if it is indeed bottomed. All right, so open. Take a look at open. Oh boy, that was that low. Wow. Okay, so my eyes go to the green PTFs right away. They also go to the red pyramids that are still down. All right, so we're still technically on price pattern analysis, still heading down. All right, we have a situation where you had a move off the bottom here. The bottom held, and then it started moving up again here. Now a big correction. All right, so this is possibly a situation where this is just a bottoming pattern on this that we're in now, and maybe it will go. So what do you do in this case? Don't go in yet. All right, we're still got to wait for this thing to prove itself after this move down. If you're in already and you got in early, all right, you could have scalped out for a trade on the bottom of the pyramids, just trail the pyramids up and get out. Or you could keep your stop down here, leave it there, and hopefully that'll keep you into the trade, okay? So either of those, but you have to suffer this pullback. But I would not go in it yet because it needs to prove itself again, all right? Again, watch list. You know, finding good stocks is like finding a needle in the haystack sometimes. This is what separates really good traders from those that are marginals, because you want to wait for a really clear, concise setup, and it takes a lot of work to find those. This is where our scanners help out a lot because they do a lot of this for us very quickly. Does the heavy lifting, so to speak. All right, LL, let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, Al, you're definitely looking at some really good potentials here. Oh my gosh, let's just open up this chart here. Look at this sell-off on this last leg. Wow, pyramids did awesome. Look at the trailing stops. Look at that. You would have held this for a long time. This is a weekly chart. You could have held this in 2021 and you'd still be short because your stop would be on the last pyramid and prices have not gone above that yet. Look at that. All right. Now you got bullish divergence. So, you know, we're probably close to a bottom here, okay? But look at the profit potential, all the way from possibly, what, 24-ish down to $2. And if you get stopped out, where is that going to be? Around maybe, okay, maybe around $5. That ain't bad, okay? All right, so what's it going to do now? Well, it could be bottoming, but we still got a active short on the long-term chart, right? And you still got pyramids down here as well, and one here. So watch list, wait for it to bottom, and then it has to turn bullish. So not yet, too late to short, obviously, and not yet a long position. So this is a watch list. All right, RUM, R-U-M. Let's take a look at that one. And just give that a second to load. All right, so right away, I'm taking a look at the red PTF. And we have that one now just formed on the 60-minute. We got pyramids pointing down, pyramids and pyramids. So still in the bottoming phase, hasn't reached there yet. No long trade and no short trade. It's too far along. All right, so that's RUM, okay? All right, let's take a look at VKTX. VKTX. All right. All right, so still heading down. Okay, this is kind of interesting. So this is kind of a little bit confusing for new people when they start looking at how to align the different time frames. And so obviously we've got to move down. You guys are looking now at the pyramids probably at this point. They're still pointing down. We have bullish divergence here. We still have red down here. So we're still coming down, all right? But look at this, all right? This is green. So basically, when you have a wave 4, which is what we're in now, this can stay green the entire move down, because what it's saying is after this is over, we'll have wave 5, and that'll make a new high and go above the target zone for the green PTF. So this is going to be a really good long trade after it finishes its correction, and it should be close. Let's open up real quick the daily chart here and just take a look at this wave impulse here. So if we were to draw a fib retracement off this, this is the bottom, move up. This is probably 2 right around here. Okay, and that's how I draw them. All right, it exceeded that. So here's how you read this. 70% of the time, wave 4s end here. 15% of the time, they're shallow. And 15% of the time, they go lower. And these percentages are based on drawing the fib retracements off the Elliott wave count, not just off highs and lows. All right, so we have not gone above what we have determined it to be wave 1 at this time, okay, which is here. All right, so we still can come down, but we're in a little bit of an unusual area because only 15% of the time do they break below the 70% area between the two blue lines. We have bullish divergence. We have A wave. Let's see where we got A wave. Boy, that's a A, probably B, C. All right, boy, that C wave here is a little shallow right there. Okay, so that's a little concerning. All right. If this was an A, B, C, you would expect it to be over here. So we may be in a situation where we could be in a major wave 2 instead of a 3 because of those configurations. Now, wave 2 is a strange animal because it can retrace the entire way down. All right, so we got to be a little careful here and really time and make sure the pullback is over. All right, so we got a red PTF on the 60. You don't want to go long. Let's put this one out there and keep an eye on it, but don't do anything with it yet, okay? That's VKTX. All right, S, let's take a look at that one here. And we got a bottoming here. There, we got green PTF, that's a good sign, but we have a red pyramid, red owl, red owl. Okay, we may have a bottom in here, okay? This could be a bottom. Let's just wait for this market to turn around. So put S on a watch list. Do not buy it, do not short it. Just watch, keep an eye on it. It's not quite ready yet. All right, and then MANU. All right, let's see what's cooking with that bad boy. And all right, green PTF, active pyramid to the downside, red owl. Again, same thing. Green PTF is indicating a nice target possibility above 26. We're at 17, so that's a decent target. So you kind of want to keep an eye on that. This has got to be green, I think. We got to get rid of these. All right, maybe you might get another one. You see this one here that's yellow forming right here? I don't know if you can see that. Let me change the color of that so you can see that better. Let's go to indicators, and then let's go to the pyramids, and then let's go to the potentials. Those are the ones forming. I want to look at that and make that blue color. There it is. Now you can see it better. All right, so there's the blue colored pyramid that's forming. So that may get triggered, and if it does, all right, that'll be a closer area for a stop and make it a possible earlier entry for us if the market turns around, because we don't like to go long until those pyramids have been stopped out, okay? So this is a watch list, okay? Don't do anything with this yet. All right, okay, let's keep going here. All right, Jim, how are you? USO, excellent one to look at. That's the oil ETF. All right, so oil, all right, has been coming down, and according to the charts here, it's not done yet. All right, it is still moving down significantly. So this is red, meaning that we don't have a bottom yet. It's in the target zone for profit taking, but it looks like it's going to go a little further. This is pretty steep still. This is pretty steep. So, okay, there it is. Now, this is green. All right. So we expect after this profit taking movement down is over. All right. And here's our target for where I think oil is going as soon as we're done with this corrective phase. So I'm thinking around 198.5 to 123. So up in the probably triple digits, it should resolve itself too. But it's still coming down. And this is where looking at 3 time frames really helps you realize that, because with this red here, all right, it shows that we're not done and we still have an active P pyramid. This is an MP. We have a P here. So you don't want to go long here yet. All right. Now, if you're long already, all right, you've gotten in early, so your stop is going to be under this target zone. It should be anyway. So you want to make sure you're under that. I'd put it at this point, at this pyramid here at the very least, okay, right now. But I would not go in yet, because I think you could probably get a better price if it comes down a little bit. So I keep looking at this one every week, all right? All right, let's take a look at SOXL and see how that one's doing. Okay, so this one here quickly bounce off its most recent low, right? Still got a red PT, red owl here, and still got an active pyramid here. That's kind of interesting on the weekly chart. So there you have that, and you still have an active one here, even though you have a bounce off the bottom. So at this particular point, where is this going? Where is the target? So before I recommend anything for a long trade, I have to know where I think it's going. So that's the first thing. So let's open up this and see. And PTF's yellow, so that's not helping us for a target. This has retraced the entire, almost the entire distance down. So that's kind of a big deal, right? All right, and now we're kind of coming down in here. So we want to make sure this is a bottom. If this is a bottom, that's really good. And for a short-term trade, we want to make sure this is a bottom. So let's go back up in here. All right, so I would not take this because you have an active pyramid going against you right now. But let's see what happens. Let's bring this to the table next week and take a look at it. But we need this thing to get sorted out more to the upside, okay? We got a yellow PTF now on the 60-minute chart and a long owl almost going red, so it may come back down a little bit. So I'd say next week, Jim, bring it and we'll take a look. I wouldn't do anything with this now. All right, if you're in it, just make sure you stops it pretty close to that bottom, okay? All right, let's go hit, let's see. All right, AP TV. Let's take a look at that bad boy. All right, so too late to go short and you don't want to go long, too many red PTFs, okay? So she's still heading down. Not quite right. Okay, APT or APTV, I should say. All right, let's take a look at the other one. Let me go over here and see BBAI, right? Okay. All right, this one's looking a little better. I see, oh boy. Okay, so we got a red. I would have liked this, except for the fact that this is still not above this pyramid here. Okay, so you've taken out the pyramids here to the downside. Those are no longer an issue. You've got bullishness being shown on the short-term chart, right? And then you've got a move up. All right, we got to get above this high here on the pyramid before thinking about this, okay? Because this is still technically an active short. We've got green here. That's a good sign. We've got green here. That's a good sign. So let's take a look at this next week, all right? You've got a bunch of forming pyramids over here. Let's make those also blue so you can see them easier over there. Let me just change those to blue. All right. The pyramids are kind of cool. So when they're blue, they're called unconfirmed pyramids. And basically, they're channeling entries and exits for you. So now you have an entry to the long side if it gets above here. And then if it goes below here, all right, that's going to be probably a MP indicating we're in a correction still. All right, so that's kind of how that works. So I would not do this one yet. It needs to come up a little bit higher. But let's put this one on your watch list. All right. And take a look at that. Bring that back to us next week. Okay. All right. So that is that one. Let's go with GDXJ. All right. Green PTFs across the board. Any active pyramids to the downside? Not really, because this is an MP. Active corrective one here. All right. So what are we doing with this one? All right. Do we have a bottom in here? Potentially, yes. Okay. This is not bad. All right. So we've got red price bars here. We've got a trend down on the 60. And we got technically a trend down that probably was taken out, actually. Okay. So now we got kind of a possibility of a trend up a little bit. All right. Here's the way I would play this. All right. You got a red owl here. And I'd like that to turn green on the 60 first. So let's see if we get a breakout. If you get a breakout, then you could take this probably as a scalp trade on both of these time frames. So you've got a PTF high here of in the 40s, and you're at 32. But if long term, it's actually got a PTF high of in the 60s, above 65. So there's potentially really good profit potential here. So I'm really liking that. What I'd like to see turn around is just the 60-minute chart. I mean, this could be ready at the end of the next week sometime. So I'm going to put this down here as the best one to watch. All right, you really want to keep an eye on that. I wouldn't go in yet because I don't like the red owl on the 60-minute chart. And also we have a move down, a trend down on the 60. So for example, if you drew a trend line here, something like this, you know, you're still down. Okay. So we need to break that trend line and start to see some movement up before I get excited about it. But I am excited of the potential of this if that happens. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. All right. Let's take a look at CVE. All right. Okay. Red PTFs on the short term, still moving down, active pyramid here. And on this, we have green. So we're looking at profit taking here with more highs after profit taking. Don't go in yet because it's still coming down. All right, CVE. All right, let's take a look at your next one here, OKE. All right, red PTFs across the board. All right, so this one to me looks like you have the potential for a short trade here, okay? That's what this looks like here. All right, now, again, what I would do, all right, I like this to be red, and it is. We've got a little bit of a pyramid there. Let's see if it's popped up enough here. Okay, so it hit the channel here, hit the channel. Okay, you have two choices here. All right, you could take the short trade based here on this. All right, it'd be, you could wait for a bearish pyramid on the 60. But I'm going to put this down as a short trade, okay? OKE short. So this is one I think I like for a short trade, if possible, all right? You want to have your stop at the very least here. But if you can do it here, try to do it there, okay? If you do it here, more trade size, but the risk is you may get stopped out before it comes down. So if you put it here, all right, then that gives you the best possible chance. You still got a good 2 to 1 to down here because it's far away, right? You know, your target, let me put your target, show you your target price here. Give me a second. So you got a target price there. So you could put your stop here or here, and you still got a 2 to 1 risk to reward. So I'm liking that for a short trade, okay? All right, so that's okay. All right, STX. Let's take a look at this one. All right. Oh, I forgot to show these. Okay, sorry about that. STX. All right, so let's take a look at this one. Ooh, I'm liking this one for a long trade. Okay, so it looks to me like that is over and that is over. We do not have a wave 5 here. I think this is a wave 3. Okay, so we should go above that. We got a PTF high here. All right, So the only way this trade works from a risk to reward standpoint is if now we're in a long-term move, okay, and we're going to get above here. Okay, that's the only way. Otherwise, you know, the PTF, you're too close to the target there, so that's not your risk to reward. You have green pyramids, you have green green here. So STX is a buy, all right? Now, you're going to be in this one for a long time, all right, because you're at 71, and what we're saying is it's going to go probably around 125. So that's not a double your money, but maybe a 40%. So that's not going to happen overnight. Now, put your stop as low as you can afford to put it. I'd like to see it probably down in this area here, okay? All right, which is pretty far away, okay? If you can't afford that, put it under the pyramid here, okay? Just trying to give you, if there's any volatility, I'm trying to keep you in that trade by keeping those stops as far away as possible. All right, so that's a buy. All right, let's see. APA. All right. Red PTF on the long term, red on the short term, and movement down. Sorry. All right, so we're definitely coming down. All right, let's see where we're going with this. Open up the weekly, and still got green here. We got red here. Okay, so the PTF is saying it's going to go back into the single digits big time. And I am trying to think here what I'm looking at in terms of a wave sequence here. That's a pretty big move down for a long extended time. And look at this, almost down to the bottom where it started. So is this the beginning of a significant new move up? Is this a 1 and this is a 2? And now we're going on to the big number 3? Possible, all right? Or, all right, are we going to get stuck in a trading range and do this before it does anything? And that can be for years, right? So that's the quandrum that you're in. This has got a red PTF, so that's still saying it's going down, all right? So that's an indication that we're probably going to filter down before we go up. So this, if this is a 1, this is a 2, this is not in agreement with the bottom here, okay? So that is suspect for going long, okay? We've got red here and we've got red here. We've got a fairly extended move down here already. We've already taken at the bottom here. So that's kind of interesting. Got a little bullish divergence down there. All right. Depends on how gutsy you are on this one, okay? Everything is suggesting a short trade here on this. Go ahead and put your target if you want to below here. And you're going to hold this for a long time because that's a long-term target. So there you have it. The risk is that we may get a bounce to the upside before we start heading down in a big way, and you may get stopped out. So I'd put your stop at the top of this pyramid here, and it's a long-term short. Okay, I'm going to put that down as a long-term short. All right. All right, good. All right, let's keep coming. Ooh, man, are we at the end? Boy, I guess we've been on for an hour, haven't we? Wow, time flies. Time flies when you're having fun, right? All right, anybody have anything else? That was a lot of stocks. All right, so let me do a recap here. And trades we looked at a lot of trades. There's a lot on the watch list. I'm not going to go through that. But here are the ones that look pretty good. VZ, okay. WPM, scalp trade. OKE, short trade. STX, a good buy trade. All right. APA, long-term short trade. And Al's got one more here, and then we'll wrap it up, okay? FYBR. Let's see how we look on that one. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right, so we looked at this one before. We were kind of expecting it to go into the target here. Not a short trade yet. If we expect this to go back down, not a lot of history, okay? So if you went long on it, you probably are stopped out or close to it at this particular point. I wouldn't do anything with this. Not enough history to get a good assessment. It's already in the profit zone from a profit target zone from a short trade on the long-term charts. You've got a green pyramid here. You still got enthusiasm, but we still could be breaking down here as well because I don't like the red PTF now over here. So I think we're coming down a little bit. Hopefully this pyramid will hold. It'll turn around, and then we can take another look at it after that for a possible long trade, okay? All right, so those are the ones we like. VZ, WPM, OKE, short trade, STX, buy, and an APA, a long-term short. So those are our winners for today. All right, I'm gonna run over quickly to the area here. These are our day trading charts, time frames, and I'll just put it on the S&P E-mini micro chart here, which is a futures chart, and you can watch that one here. It looks like we're a nice move up early this morning. Here's your profit taking, and now move back up. Looks like we're near a high here, short-term high. Now, don't forget, these charts, this is a 15-second chart. So every price bar is only 15 seconds. This is a 1-minute chart where every price bar is 1 minute, 5-minute chart for a 5-minute price bar. So these are very short time frames. Trends change, in a matter of, 5 to 10 minutes, okay? So in this case here, looks to me like, let me just draw it in the fib retracements. Let's see what we got. Okay. So it looks to me like we had wave 4 here. Okay, looks like we might be moving back up again though. So we had profit taking there. Now we're on the next surge. We have bearish divergence here. So we got to be a little bit careful. So I think probably too late to go long. I'm kind of thinking that maybe we're due for some type of pullback in this region here a little bit. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, so I wouldn't go long here. The long position is pretty much done, I think. Could make another high, but there's more risk going long than waiting it out for a possible short trade or waiting for it to pull back to that target zone and going long. So we analyze the intraday charts exactly like we do the long-term charts. And the reason for that is because in technical analysis, we have something called fractal symmetry, where we see the same price patterns regardless of market and time frame. So if your trading system works off technicals like ours does, you can apply it on any time frame and market. All right, great job, everybody. Wow, a lot of stocks to look at. So we will put the timeline up on these winners later today, but everybody have a great weekend. I'll put a little music on. I'll keep this up for another minute or two, and then we'll close the room. And have a great weekend, and we'll be back next week for Stock Analysis Friday. Thank you. Oh, don't forget, give us a like, okay? Give us a like.